Hey everyone, I'm Crystal Jigrup, and this is Empowered by Women. In August of 2021, I launched Book of Bijou, which is a line of chic and innovative jewelry storage. And in January of 2022, we expanded into what you now see as the Empowered by Women platform. I really wanted to create a centralized space where we can really put emphasis on our mission of women empowerment and community over competition. It really truly does fill my cup to be surrounded by so many of you inspiring women, and the energy that you bring to me and our platform on a daily basis is unmatched. You really all do fuel me with so much motivation to continue doing what I'm doing, and for that, I thank you. Before we jump into the episode, please be sure to follow or subscribe to us wherever you are listening, whether you're watching on YouTube or you're listening on your favorite podcast platform. And also don't forget to share your favorite episodes with your fellow female founders so that we can continue growing our platform and furthering our mission. All right, let's go ahead and jump into this next interview with another incredible woman in entrepreneurship that I know you guys are going to absolutely love. Today we have the incredible Poli Ševčíková. I hope I said that right. She is a holistic business architect, and also she's the host of the Female Gentle Leaders podcast, which I had the pleasure of being on. It was such an amazing conversation. So if you did not catch that yet, be sure to check it out. I will include that link in the show notes. But I am so excited to dive into this conversation because I truly love the way Poli approaches business and helps women to approach their own businesses. And it's all about living in ease and enjoying your life now, right? You don't have to hustle till get to the point where you can enjoy your life in the future. All of that can be done simultaneously. It's about combining that energy with strategy so you can really enjoy the process, something that I love so much. So, Poli, thank you so much for joining us today. I am so excited for this.
Thank you for inviting me. And it's so incredible to even just talk to you. As you said, I really loved our conversation and I always love to talk to you. So let's have fun and let's dive deep.
Yes, let's do it. So let's start with your business title. First of all, a business architect. What does that even mean? Break it down for us.
Well, for years, I was trying to niche out, like everybody says, like pick a lane, do just launches, or I don't know, just energy work, or just design of programs. And I could never do that. And for a time, I was telling myself, like, boo hoo, you need to find out the niche. But I couldn't because I found out that my strength in is in going beyond, is in zooming out and seeing the entire business as a system, as an ecosystem, as a machine sometimes. And then I can zoom in and see the program, plan a launch, see the energy part if there's something misaligned or anything is needed. But I see it from up above as the first thing. So this is why business architect, because it's just not one part, but it's really building an ecosystem with my clients for my clients.
I love that. And I think I got so excited to be chatting with you. I totally skipped over. Usually I let I let our guests give a little background to how they got to what they're doing today. So why don't you just take us back a little bit? What is your background and how did that lead you to your now all of the work that you're doing as this business architect with your podcast, with the work you're doing with women? So what was your background?
My background, we can check two lanes that created what I'm in now. The first lane was that I struggled with anxieties and panic attacks since I was 5 years old. We moved a lot. I'm a sensitive one. I didn't like it, and it wasn't easy. So I kept re-traumatizing myself for years and years. So I always say I live for these last 10 years, maybe now 11 years, but that's it. Before that, it was suffering and fighting for my life every day. And on the other hand, I was in business since I was 15. I helped my parents in their business. I was teaching since I was 15 because I have many languages. I know many languages, and I knew all about translations and teaching and even client care since I was 15. But I always told anybody who asked, I will never be an entrepreneur like my parents. And when they asked me why, it was about, well, because I want to be a present parent. I think I was mostly raised by my grandmother, who has passed away for a few years back. So I tried not to be an entrepreneur for 6 months. That was it. My anxiety stopped me like right away. I felt like in jail when I had to go to a place, stay there for 9 hours. Half of that time, my job was done and I couldn't even just do whatever I wanted. I had to be there, counted seconds, and I really felt like in jail. It had no meaning. I had no sense in that. The energy was gone in a few weeks. So I understood that, yeah, my path is business entrepreneurship. And since then, I built it. Now my global brand is my sixth company. And I see how it can really change our lives if we set the boundaries on, I want to live right now. My business is there to support me in that. And I want to create what I really feel I want to create. Not only I don't do business for money, but really create from my deep love. So yeah, this is me.
There is so much that I can say about what you just said, and so much that I love and really, really resonate with. But when you first said that you've only been living the past 10 years of your life, past 10, 11 years, like, wow, to really reflect on that and realize that I mean, it's kind of like it leaves you like speechless, like where did all of those other years go? Right. And
Yeah.
it's sad to think that that is kind of the norm for people, right? Because we're so stuck in this routine, we're working on autopilot, we're kind of just doing what we have to do to get by, and we're not focusing on how can we create the life that we want to live now? How can we be more
Mhm.
present now? Right? Not just set ourselves up for the future, because that
Yeah.
future can be 10, 20 years down the line, but how can we set ourselves up with this life or career or business that supports all of those things in this present moment? And you kind
Yeah.
of alluded to it already with your parents being entrepreneurs. And I wanted to dive into that a little bit more because that's not something that I already knew about your journey. So clearly they weren't very present, but did you also kind of recognize any like their mentality throughout that process? Like, were they constantly stressed and, just thinking about business all the time, even in those moments when they were with you?
I don't know, frankly. Um, because I'm alone, an only child, and most of the time I was alone or I was with my grandma. So truly sad, I have no idea what they were thinking. Um, when I came home from school, my father was always home because he worked from home. My mom was more of a teacher and she was taking care more of the clients, so she was more in the agency. So I was glad when I caught them during dinner, and that's it.
Mhm.
Like, I don't remember any family trips. I know that my mom always tried to go for a holiday with me. That was amazing. That was once a year, most maybe twice per year if we went maybe skiing in the winter. But that feeling that I always got was stress, fighting, not enough sleep, always trying to have good money for the family, like the instability. And that always felt like that's not for me. I will just grow in a corporate world. I have many talents, so it won't be so hard. And that's it. Like, I'm trained to do whatever it needs. I know I can learn, but I will never go this path.
Yeah. That's a tough thing to be in, right? Because you're working so hard because you want to provide for your family, but then at the same time, you're not there for your family. So
Yeah.
you're really having to weigh whether or not it's worth it. And I just love the importance that you're putting on being present with your children. That's definitely how I'm hoping to create my business as well and keep building my business with them at the forefront. And me knowing that I want to have the flexibility to be able to spend time with them, to have them a part of what I'm doing whenever I can, and to have that fluidity, right? But it's a tricky balance because then sometimes things just start to fall by the wayside, right? Maybe we're spending too much time focusing on family that we're not doing the things that we still need to do to grow our business. Or when we are finally carving out time to focus on our business, then all of the parent guilt starts creeping in. So how have you managed to find that kind of balance for yourself? What does it look like on your day to day?
I try to imagine it like a dance. Uh, I heard somewhere and it's stuck that balance doesn't exist. And since that phrase caught me, I know 4 years ago, I think maybe, it really helped me. Because before that, I was exactly as you say, I was fighting to find the balance. Like, what is the right amount of hours for me to work? What is the right amount of hours for me to carve out for myself? What is the right amount of hours for my husband, for my children? And I was getting crazy about it. I'm I'm really loving the order and the harmony. So I was really trying to find the harmony in, but in a rigid system, right? In the hours. But when I looked at it differently, like, there isn't any like rigid balance. The balance is in the imbalance, in the dance of sometimes, as you said, sometimes more hours working, then more hours with kids, then more hours with my husband or by myself. I relaxed in it. And now, of course, I have some rigid, I have some hours that I work because the kids are in school. That's given. But then I just let myself feel. Do I need to be alone? Or do I want to be with my children? Because sometimes I really need to be alone, and it's okay to tell them, kids, you're home, I'm home, but now I'm not in a playful mood. So if it's okay, I will just open a book and I will be here right by your side, but I need to be with a book. I just don't have the energy to speak or to be like funny and crazy mom. And some other days, I'm the crazy mom. We do pillow fights, we play games all day, and we order a pizza and have watch movies or whatever, right? And some other days, we just say with our husband, we haven't spent enough time this month together. So let's call our grandmas if they can watch our kids, and we could elope for, I don't know, for a weekend or for at least one night, or to go to sauna and have dinner and then come back home when they already fall asleep with the grandma. So now it's more a moving system because I see it, and I bet you see it too. I think we see it more in our children, and that helps us to then come back to ourselves and realize it. Because at first I saw it at in my children, that my son, after 4 days in preschool, comes home and he just wants to be left alone on Friday. And I'm okay with it, right? I don't feel like pushed away, not loved. So then I realized, so it's okay even for me to tell him that I want to be alone now. So he helps me to mirror this natural just acceptance of what I need when I need it. And it's different, right? Each month, each week is different. How about you?
That's so beautiful. And that I feel like we're the same person when you when you talk, because I'm like, yes, I feel that. That is exactly the same way that I am. But I love that that communication is there, and that you are kind of all able to bounce that same energy off of each other. Clearly, you're very in tune with your feelings, and that's been passed on to your children, because now your son is showing that he's recognizing when he just needs time to be alone, and that's okay. There's no pressure to do any specific thing at any specific time. And I think that's so beautiful, just recognizing what you need in that moment, what each other needs in that moment, and giving that to
Yeah.
each other. I think that's so beautiful and really does allow you to really live life in the present moment, right? And
Yeah.
you're not being so strict and so hard on yourself on the way that you're showing up, whether it's in business, your family, just whatever you're feeling.
Okay, I know you're all well invested into this episode so far, but I wanted to just take a quick moment to tell you all about Cast Magic, because this tool has been a lifesaver for me and the Empowered by Women podcast. And we don't like to gatekeep around here, okay? So if you also have a podcast, a YouTube channel, or really produce any kind of long form content, you really need to introduce Cast Magic into your life if you haven't already. It used to take me forever to find specific clips, create captions and titles and descriptions, and all the things that come with running a podcast, but Cast Magic has made that 10 times easier for me. And as a mom with a very busy schedule, I am all about simplifying and streamlining my to-do list. So seriously, save yourself some time and even multiply your usable content and download it ASAP. The link will be included in the show notes, but let's go ahead and get back to this awesome interview.
So when it comes to combining energy and strategy work, because clearly we're still having a conversation to entrepreneurs that are listening, right? We're still here to build our businesses and build lives that really align with the lives that we want to create. So what would you say comes first? Is it just leaning into that energy and that intuition? Do you already have strategies that you need to have in place before you can kind of start to let loose a little bit? Which one of those comes first?
I think that the energy part, because the strategy comes in the moment when we already know what we want to create, like the vision, the big thing. But that then also our heart or our intuition tells us what we are supposed to create, what program, what type of service, right? What type of project. So when we learn to really channel it, then we can just take it and fine tune it with the strategies we know. But I even channel my strategies. So it's really a combination. And of course, it's great to know all the systems because you can then make it easier for you. So, for example, I'm a former ads manager. So I really love adding ads to my strategies. I just, I can't even make myself work only organically and grow. It feels heavy for me. So, for example, this is one of the strategies I would add. I don't I don't think I ever channeled like do ads, but there was always a feeling. If I do ads, how does it feel? If I don't do ads, how does it feel? And I always choose the path of least resistance, of more ease. So I think it's a combination, but it starts with the energy because we aren't supposed to create our business from here. We are supposed to create it from here. And then it can really grow. And you create it the same way, right? It makes a difference when we really create it from within.
Were there any times in your past where before you got into this place where you're focusing so much on creating with ease, was there any time in your past where you were so heavily focused on the opposite, right? Where you're like, let me get all of these strategies in place first. And like, did you ever feel that, the burnout, or were you stuck in that hustle mentality? And then you came to realize, okay, this is clearly not working. Let me start leaning into my intuition.
It was different for me. because of my anxiety. So for me, the intuition was always the lead. It was just the last 4 years I added it to my work with my clients. But for me, I always created from my heart. All the companies were creating from my heart. But yes, I burned out. And the burnout was when I was trying to understand why I burned out. It was because I got lost in the how to build it. So the idea, the project was from my heart. All the ideas on the growth of the company was from my heart too. And all the companies really grew amazingly. But then I always got lost in the how, in the day to day. So then what happens, right? As you say, when we love something, we sometimes get lost in the work. And that's what happened to me. So I just worked too much. I needed to take care of my family. I then at that time I was a sole provider, and it was too much, too fast, too much. And and that's why I burned out. And since then, what burned out gave me is that little peace in my mind that stops me before I go towards the burnout again. So I need to rest more. I stop sooner. So I'm glad it happened, but yeah, it wasn't easy.
I think that is the tricky part, right? Especially for people that don't know, maybe they're just getting started. They don't know what strategies will work for them. They don't know what options they have. So they're kind of just going at it full force. Like, I have to do this and I have to do this to be successful. And for anyone that maybe doesn't have that kind of innate sense to lean on their intuition, what kind of advice do you have for them to start allowing that to be part of the way that they're making decisions and how they're moving forward?
Mhm. So what I see, and it's as you said, the biggest problem is that when we start our business, we think we need to figure out the right strategy.
Mhm.
And then we try to learn whatever comes forward, any course, every YouTube video. And we get so stuck in the how. We get so stuck in the thing, in the phrase in our head that if I figure out the right strategy, the success will come. But the truth is, it's not like that. I'm trying to find the right words because it's sometimes just a little feeling there. So it's not about jumping and testing all the strategies. It's about seeing them all. That's great. Study. We all study. We need to study. We need to become better. But it's not about acting on them right away. We need to learn, absorb, and then feel what feels right for me. And that will work. But if we will try everything, even if we hate like 90%, it's going to be a game of chance. Like maybe this will work, or maybe that will work. But by the time everything will start working, we will be already burned out, maybe even twice or three times. So feeling what feels right is at least the first thing we can do. And I feel like I'm not speaking really clearly, but I'm trying.
No, you're doing great. And I love everything that you're saying. And I have probably said this a few times already, but I'm the same way, right? And there are so many ideas that come across my head, like, oh, I want to try this, I want to try that. And I think it's important to recognize you can't do it all at once, but that also
Mhm.
doesn't mean that you can't do it eventually. Right.
Yeah.
So I love taking that time to really sit with it, absorb it, like you said, and then just see how you're feeling with each of those ideas that are coming
Yeah.
to you, and each of those strategies or tips or whatever that you might have heard that you feel like can apply to you. But being really intentional about not taking on too much and being mindful about what you are going to take on, how you're going to move forward, and why you're moving forward with that particular route. So
Exactly. And can I say just something?
Yeah, of course.
I just wanted to add that this is the reason why I stopped being a marketing strategist. My husband is. Because in marketing, you need to have it all, right? You need to have a YouTube channel, a podcast, a SEO optimization of your blog, a great website, branding, PR, ads, social media, right? You need to have it all. That's not the reality of normal business owners, right? And this is why we can't jump on this fact. If we do, we just spread out too thin and we will bleed out, burn out, everything together. So this is why the energy part is so important. It will help us carve our path, and then we will add all those things, right? But we need to do it, as you said, one step at a time, but not all at once.
So what about the people that feel like, okay, none of that feels easy to me. None of that feels like it's going to bring me ease into my business. Everything just feels so intimidating, so daunting. I'm pretty sure at the end of our podcast on your podcast, our episode on your podcast, we were talking about like being a little bit more introverted, right? And not always having the energy to show up in certain ways. So what is your advice for women kind of like that, where the ease is in more keeping to themselves and they're not really about marketing, but obviously if you're going to have a successful business, you need to be putting yourself out there somehow. So what advice do you have for them?
Finding the way. For me, it's not easy. Business ownership isn't easy, but we can make it easeful. And it's all about having the right perspective of it. Because somebody tells me, okay, I'm an introvert. I hate being on social media. And I tell them, yeah, I'm an introvert too. Social media has to do with it. What? Do you write texts to your friends? Yes, I do. Do you like calling them? Yes, I do. So, social media, if you look at it in just another way, like sharing with people that are alike with your community, then it feels easy. So, one of my clients, I just saw her last week and she did a henna painting. It's already faded. And she was exactly that. A year ago, she told me, I won't be on social media. I hate it. I can't be on it. I just can't. And I said, okay, let's just leave it and you will find a way because you will be on social media. It doesn't matter which one, but I bet you will find a way. And now, a year after, she loves sharing on social media. And the change was before that, she didn't have the business she wanted to have. She thought that's it. But her not being able to share on social media was a sign. Now she's doing this. She loves it. She creates paintings on even things and sells it and has an amazing place. And now she shares it. Now she feels like a most natural thing is sharing on social media. So it's about perspective. Sometimes it's about backing up a little bit and telling ourselves, okay, I will just look. I won't force myself. I will look. I will find a way. For me, sometimes it was podcasting. I created a secret podcast for almost a year, and it was amazing because I love just having my phone, walking, talking, making my tea during breakfast, and that was it. And that felt amazing. And I was on social media, but like that. So we always can find a way when it's important enough. And if we are doing what we love, and then if we have the big, deep why, then we have the reason why to find a way, right?
Yeah. I love that so much. And I think it is really so important to recognize that there is no one way to show up on social media, right? I mean, you can do like lives with other people, but if you are not at that place where you're comfortable talking to other people, I love that you have this secret podcast where you're kind of just sharing tidbits throughout your day when you feel like it. And it's not even like someone is having to respond to you. You're just sharing that yourself, right? And you're still sharing your vision, you're getting it out there, you're spreading your word, your message, and people still have the opportunity to listen to that and respond to it. And it's almost like you can like carve out a time when you are feeling in that mindset of, okay, now I'm ready to be social. Now I can go back and see how people have responded and interact a little bit more. So I think that's great. Do you have any final tips on like how you can continue to build the momentum, right? Once you're starting to like, okay, I'm starting to show up, it's getting a little bit easier or easeful, which I love that word. How do you keep up the momentum?
You have fun. The more fun you have, the less it feels like work and the more momentum you build. So yesterday, one of my clients messaged me during the evening, if I'm crazy, that I'm everywhere, and how am I doing it? And I told her, what do you mean? I was offline since 2 p.m., just crocheting and watching Netflix. I was tired. And she said, are you kidding me? Like, are you kidding me right now? How is it possible? And I said, well, I have a team. We reuse my content. My secret podcast that I did for a year now makes a content for at least 2 or 3 years. And I don't do that anymore. But when I feel like it, I create content too. So that amplifies. I don't create my emails. My assistant does. We just plan what posts she will use, what we will share. And it compounds, right? We have a podcast. I create one, like us here, but I go live with that client. And after a few months, it goes out as a podcast. And then it goes out as a reel. So that's the momentum. When we have fun, we can hold more and more and more and more. And now I would imagine now I have 2 businesses at once. That's normal for me. I even had 4 at once. But now I create posts sometimes in Czech, sometimes in English. I create launches in English. I create big events in Czech. And both of the companies go different ways. I wouldn't even expect that because I am holding the fun and the ease. And when I feel heavy, I just don't do it. Then I can do more. And there the momentum is, right? When we feel heavy and pushing and that I need to survive this week and this week, if we go like that, right? You can even feel it. It's like you are slowing down. And then we stop when everything has stopped. And then it's so heavy to start again, right? But when we go towards the ease, towards the fun, and we learn to really scan everything what I do, like a CEO, we are CEO, so we need to scan like everything that is happening in my business. Does it make sense? What doesn't work? What feels heavy? What maybe costs too much and doesn't get back to the business? And we need to reevaluate all the time and change. And then the ease can be 9900% of the business. So that's it
So,
for me.
so much magic you just shared in that. And I love the resourcefulness. I love that you're putting fun at the forefront of what you're doing. And I love, love, love when you said, if it feels heavy, I don't do it so that I can do more. I think that sentence in and of itself is so incredibly powerful to recognize that by taking yourself out of something that is draining you, that's actually giving you the opportunity to make a bigger impact by giving you that time back to put into something else. Oh my gosh, Polly, you are amazing. I could talk to you forever and a day.
Me too.
Where can our audience connect with you?
The best way is my Instagram, Poli Business Architect, and my Facebook, it's connected. So Instagram is the best. And of course, my podcast, as you said, Female Gentle Leaders. I love it. And now I'm creating there. It's like my secret podcast. So you can find interviews with amazing women like Crystal, but also you can find my shortcast episode, my solo episodes. And I love the combination. So yeah, let's connect, and thank you for having me, Crystal. I loved our conversation.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. And it flew by. That's how great it was. But of course, all of those links are going to be in the show notes. Again, Polly, you have been incredible. So thank you so much for spending your time with me today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. And have an amazing day, you all.
Another incredible interview with yet another inspiring woman in entrepreneurship. I hope you guys loved that episode just as much as I did. But before we leave off, if you yourself are also a woman entrepreneur, I would love for you to consider joining our Empowered by Women directory. We're looking for women-owned product and service-based businesses in the US to help us build the go-to place for our communities to find local women to shop with and connect with, and we'd love for you to be a part of it. All of the details can be found on www.empoweredbywomen.com/apply-directory. Of course, that's going to be linked in the show notes below, and you're also welcome to reach out to me anytime if you have any questions. But other than that, thank you again so much for joining us, and I will see you in the next episode.